all good from what I'm looking at, but those are all very good explanations. And again, there's no right or wrong answers, just about whatever you voted for, what you think. Okay, so solutions, or I mean, not solutions, but now we're into the Great Depression, and these were the proposed solutions to the economic problems. The first one is by President Herbert Hoover, who believed that the problem came from Mexicans, of course, blaming it on the immigrants, but also not just immigrants, Mexican Americans who were actually born in the U.S. So basically, anyone of Mexican descent. And so his viewpoint is if we deport everyone of Mexican heritage back to Mexico, that'll open up jobs for more white Americans and solve the problems. Well, guess what? It didn't do that. It was just racism. So the real solutions, controversial, but still more about tackling the actual problems and not just being racist. But they came from President Roosevelt, and they're called the New Deal. And the New Deal comes in three parts. Part one is relief, and these are programs that are meant to put money in people's hands so that they can provide for their family. So, in other words, it's giving people jobs, and it's also giving people checks so that they can get out of the cycle of poverty. But the Civilian Conservation Corps, the Public Works Administration, and the Works Progress Administration are all designed to give people jobs. So it's temporary, it's short term, but it's helping people in their suffering. Recovery is focused on restoring the economy, and he does that. Roosevelt does that through regulating farming practices, regulating the economy, and putting money in the hands of consumers to try to get them spending more money so the economy would be stimulated. And then reforms are things to prevent a Great Depression from ever happening again. And so these are things that a lot of times we still see today. So, for instance, the Social Security Act to this day gives older people a check every month so that they don't go broke in their old age. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, regulates the stock market to this day so that it won't crash. And then there's the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which insures bank deposits up to $200,000 so we don't lose our deposits if a bank fails. So all of these are very much focused on making sure a Great Depression doesn't happen again. So now you guys have some matching. So please work on that. And I'll tell you the acronyms. I'll just go through them quickly because I realize it's probably hard to know what those mean. Do know that you have to know all of those terms for the STAR. Like I said, these are all things that might show up on May 1st, but you probably will have them, the whole thing spelled out, not just the acronyms. So the FDIC is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. TVA is Tennessee Valley Authority. SEC is Securities and Exchange Commission. SSA is Social Security Act or Social Security Administration. The CCC is Civilian Conservation Corps. AAA is the Agricultural Adjustment Act. And the WPA is the Works Progress Administration. So I know that was kind of fast, but if any of you need me to repeat that, let me know. Okay, it looks like most of you are wrapping it up. And we have it pretty good. So good job, but these are the pairs. CCC, hiring for planted trees, where the WPA is more for big roads, AAA is farming, TVA is building infrastructure, SSA is government checks to the elderly, SEC is about regulating the stock market, and FDIC is about insuring our bank deposits. So I'm actually going to start skipping through some of this because this is kind of where we have run out of time today. So I did want to go into depth with those. So what is this? I did want to go into depth with those since those were the things that we looked at a long time ago. But I am going to be skipping through some of the short answer questions from here on out, just so we can get through the rest of it and get to our quiz at the end. So after the 1930s, what really actually brings us out of the Great Depression is World War II. So during World War II, we have to produce lots of weapons and factories start going again, and generally the economy actually gets better. But ways that the economy changes in World War II, one is through rationing. So people were limited in how much they could buy because goods had to be conserved for the men overseas. But also women and minorities had more of influence in World War II because they had to take over the jobs of men who were off fighting the war. So skipping through that one. So this brings us to the end of World War II all the way up to modern America. There are just a few international trade policies to talk about. So yesterday we mentioned the words neutrality and isolationism. Neutrality and isolationism was kind of the policy before World War II. The US kept to itself. It didn't really get that involved with other countries or their economies. After World War II, our economies are all connected. It's starting to lead to that word that we talked about called globalization, where we're all connected to each other. And so since World War II, we have been trading with people across the world. So one of the organizations you need to know is OPEC, which is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And these are countries that are mostly in the Middle East, and it's where we get most of the fuel that keeps our vehicles going. And so that is what OPEC is. And there was actually one of the things that highlights the problems with international trade is like those Middle Eastern countries got mad at us at one point and cut off our oil supplies. So it just shows how international conflict can sometimes maybe lead to some problems with international trade. The GATT was the General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade. And what this was meant to do is help eliminate trade barriers across the world by limiting the amount of tariffs and just having someone kind of overseeing trade to make sure that things stay reasonable and stay peaceful. And so it establishes the rules for trade and settles disputes. And then there's NAFTA. And this does completely get rid of tariffs, which are the taxes on imported goods. NAFTA is an agreement between the North American countries of Mexico, the United States, and Canada to completely have free trade across the borders so that we can trade freely back and forth between our southern border in Mexico and our northern border in Canada.
Roger that. Bombers on the way.
So you guys tell me right now, we will do this short answer. How do NAFTA and GATT influence worldwide trade? try to wrap it up. Okay, I want to end it there because we do have a quiz we need to get to. I only have 62% of your answers, but the answer is pretty simple. NAFTA and GATT are making it easier to trade with other countries and overseeing the process of trade so that we can trade more freely and easily across the world. So now you guys have a quiz. We are going to go over some of the most commonly missed questions of the quiz, so you're not dismissed after you finish. So try to get this done by 1:35. And then we're just going to, I'll tell you guys the correct answer because honestly, I'm not sure if it tells you the correct answer. So I'll make sure it does. Okay, so it does tell you the correct answer, but I'll make sure to go over the ones we're missing most just so you understand those because there have been several that people have struggled with today. So work for the next 5 minutes or so, and then we will talk about the ones that you miss.
Careful, we're coming up on another structure. Pelican inbound. Let's clear a landing zone. They're all pouring out of the middle. Let's get in there. Who's with me? Creepy little one.
Okay, let's take a quick look. It looks like you all did really, really good overall. If any of you have questions about specific answers, let me know. But what I am seeing is the same thing I have seen in my other classes, where 4 and 6, and in other classes 8, but you guys actually did pretty good on 8. But 4 and 6 are some of the ones giving people problems. So number 4, I'm not quite sure why that's giving people problems, but the question was about a cause of the Great Depression, and it looks like, what are people missing? What are people saying? Some people are saying B or D. And so B is a decrease in supply of consumer goods. That wasn't happening. There's actually an oversupply of consumer goods. And it wasn't an increase of price of wheat either. There was a decrease of the price of wheat. So y'all are just getting, I don't know, maybe mixing up what decrease and increase means. But what we did say is happening is overproduction. So more things are being produced than what are being bought, which is a major cause of the Great Depression. With number 6, that's definitely the most commonly missed one today. But what those 2 organizations are meant to do, the Civilian Conservation Corps and WPA, they are meant to give jobs to people who didn't have jobs. They're meant to address the issue of high unemployment so that people can put food on their family's tables. So our answer there is B, it's high unemployment. So those are the 2 that we will go over. But were there any questions about the other ones? Okay, then that's what I have for you today. So have a good 3-day weekend. Make sure you're getting caught up on anything, because we had some Schoology issues this week, so get caught up on submitting that review. But you guys are free to go, and I'll see y'all on Monday.
Good. Still no word about In Amber Clad on the Covenant battle net. It's odd. The Covenant know we made landfall, but they don't seem to consider us a very serious threat. Boy, are they in for a big surprise. Watch yourself. Honor guards.
A fool!